Hey YouTubers, sup, my name is Ray for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. Now, I'm not going to just run down this ARG ban list. What I actually want to do is I want to create a discussion here. It's not coffee time, because it's not motherfucking Monday. If it comes off as a rant, I apologize. It's not my intentions. My intentions are clear. Players should not be deciding a ban list for a bunch of reasons I'm going to point out. So in front of you, if you want to take a second to read the ban list, you can make the window bigger and actually read it. I'm just going to quickly go over a few things from this ARG ban list and give you pinpoints of why I have this statement today. Players should not be creating ban lists, and it's proven from the ARG ban list. Now, ARG, for those who don't know, went and asked, their inner circle of players, hey, what do you think should be limited? What do you think should be hit? This was the result. There's no FTKs. Satellar Knights are viable beyond belief, and Cleaforts are viable beyond belief. I honestly think ARG Circuit is going to be a Satellar Knight format. Now, this does not affect the typical Yu-Gi-Oh! That you and I both know. It may not be on Dev Pro, most likely not. And the only time to really play it is at the ARG Circuit, where they're giving out like $40,000 worth of shit. It's cool. Let me talk about the very good things first. It's cool that ARG wants to give that community, a giant push in you can live off Yu-Gi-Oh! Because we make so much money selling it, we can hold these tournaments for you up to $40,000, next year or so that you can make. That's great. I'm all for it. But this list is honestly disgusting in my eyes. I'm not salty because I'm not going to be playing it. I'm just going to make a bunch of key points in this video that you may or may not agree with as to why that is. Now, hopefully you'll be entertained by this video enough that you'll let me know with a like. If not, then I'm sorry for wasting your time, like Mikey would say. So, they hit Jin, Fusion Gate, Chain, Lava Chain, Necrots of Trishilia, Royal Magic Library, and Venny's Emptiness. These are a lot of meta-based hits, you may say. Some of these are not even close to meta because they're so inconsistent it would never go off, but yet ARG hits it. I'm going to say this again so people understand. Lava Chain is a scapegoat hit to the real issue. But on this list, they hit Trishilia and Unicorn. Trishilia's banned, Unicorn's limited. That was enough to curb the deck out. You could have left the Jin release of Rituals, and you could have left the... Hell, you could have left Vanny's Emptiness alone and Lava Chain. 3 Dark Holes and a Raigeki with 2 Torrential Tribute, 3 MST, and you can't jump over Vanny's Emptiness or a Jinlock? Something's wrong there. And now keep in mind, for the Jinlock, there's also Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse, which are both very viable cards, but I guess that's too hard to play. I had said one time to a friend of mine, I never made it into a discussion video, but today I do, players should not create ban lists because as god-awful as Konami can make them, at the end of the day, they're still a hell of a lot better 95% of the time than anything a player can come out with. Because as a player, and I admit this too, as a player, we see what we want to see. We don't want to hit our deck. We want to have fun. And sometimes our deck being fun, excuse me, it's making me a little nauseous, is not always fun for everyone to consume that deck. A prime example on this whole list is the lack of Satellar Knight hits and the lack of Cleafort hits. Cleafort's got a slap on the wrist with Summoner's Art. Now, again, this is not going to affect the real game state, but still, this just gives me, a point to the video that I've been dying to make for a long time. Hell, this list is kind of worse than what Pojo spits out, and Pojo's kind of awful. I hate you too, Pojo. I hate you too. Stratos is back on this list, but they preempt hit the Bubble Man. Now, why preempt hit Bubble Man? Because they look at OCG. Now, I've said this many of times. OCG is very different than TCG. Things like that shouldn't happen. Now, for those of you waiting for the real list and going to say, well, this doesn't really matter, and your video is kind of pointless because of it, well, I'm going to get into the meat of the discussion about that in a second. The real list will be out next week, and this is just kind of fun to go over. My videos are meant to be entertaining while being enlightful at the same time, so again, I apologize if that's not the case today, but there'll be something else for you a little bit later. So what I'm getting at here is when a player decides on a ban list, mostly a lot of these guys, I'm just going to preempt say, like they preempt hit, play Satellar Knights, Cleaforts. Just observation. I may be completely wrong, and I will take my words back if that's true. It just feels like it was tailor-made to push Satellar Knights and to push Cleaforts. Cleaforts are one of those decks that are kind of that anti-meta with the pendulums, you know, and all the floodgates. Yeah, okay, you hit mistake, that's fine. I can't play the game because of mistake. More back row hate, Dust Tornado exists, Fairy Winds, you know, a lot of common shit you can get for like 50 cents and used. Apparently they don't want to. It's cool, it's cool. This list did do some stuff right that I do hope that carries over to the Konami list. Glow Blow, the Chaos Sorcerer, the Insector Hornet, the Dragon Ravine, the Zen Mighty, but I probably would have just hit Hunter because it's inconsistent as fuck, but that's what they were going for on here. Instant Fusion, eventually I like to see on the TCG list of ours. But right now, let Noden have its fun for a little while, then hit it. You know, simple as that. The Fusion Gate hit, it's an OTK that, do you really expect anyone who's going to ARG to use in the competitive scene? Do you really think they're going to win the whole tournament with a Fusion Gate deck? No disrespect to anyone who plays Fusion Gate, but honestly, are you going to be able to jump over, you know, stat nights like this constantly? I just don't see it happening that often. And you could say, yeah, it's the preamp hit, you know, preamp hit the Blaze Phoenix deck. Effect Veiler exists, man. Max C exists, you know? Those decks are inconsistent for a reason. And that's part of the reason I'm making this video. Yeah, Konami sucks. We all agree on that part. Konami's god-awful in the way they make ban lists at times. But when Konami makes a ban list, 90% of the time, we could disagree with it, but it's good for sales and it keeps the business alive and it keeps the game going a few more months. That's what you gotta look at. As much as I hate the ban list at times, that's something I do look at, especially as a Yu-Gi tuber who wants to create discussion and, you know, be a little insightful to you guys. That's something I look at. I go and do my research every single day. I wake up and I basically just challenge myself to learn a little bit more about it. Now, this list was tailor-made for the players. Okay, so this gives you an idea if Konami tomorrow had one of those voting things like they did with the first, I believe it was Turbo Pack, where Crush Card was first being reprinted for the TCG and then they ban it right after. This is what it would look like. So I want every one of you to ask yourself right now, would you be okay with this ban list if it was custom made, you know, from Konami because of votes? This is what we would have. Or are you more happy with the Konami list? Me personally, I'm more happy with the Konami list because at least with the Konami list, I don't gotta worry about my fucking Infernities losing something that's not even meta relevant right now. And if their argument to the Lava Low chain and to many people's Lava Low chain ban, which I find really dumb, is that it helps get Jin into the graveyard faster. Well, then you better hit Mathematician, Armageddonite, Dark Ref, or Foolish Burial, and probably a Charge of Light Brigade just to be safe, because those all put them in there too. You know why we're at it? Instead of hitting those 6 cards, we could just hit Jin, ban it, not have to worry about it, and then no more issues. You know, with being locked out of not playing your deck. Oh, Vanity's Emptiness is an issue. Your list has 3 Dark Holes, 1 Regeki, 3 MST, 3 Dust Tornado, and 2 Torrential Tribute. And it's still an issue? Why? Oh, because it stops deck from special summoning. I guess you should hit Fossil Dino too, because he does that too. No, he's only got 1200. We can run over it real easy. You could do the same thing with the Dark Holes, the Trentals, the Regekis, the Phoenix Wing Blast, the Regeki Breaks. You just get it off the field, do what you need to in OTK. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being me and seeing, you know, between the lines there, and I don't even, I have no words for it. There are things done right with this list, but there's a lot done wrong. And this is primarily why, with Konami, I'm more happy that they don't take player suggestion. They look at the tournaments and go, okay, this is topping, this is winning worlds, let's hit that, let's hit this. And sometimes that could be god-awful. And no, I'm not flip-flopping from my last video about ARG and how they're basically getting the game into a more competitive scene like the MLG did with Halo and everything else. Like I said before, Magic the Gathering was the first step into competitive card games. Pokemon has that competitive scene. Yu-Gi-Oh! Had it to a point, but not where you can live off it. You want to live off it, you have to do basically everything you can do to do that. And that's a shit ton of work. Make yourself into a big Yu-Gi tuber, sell a bunch of cards, make yourself well known, so you can make enough money to travel and everything, and just support yourself. And for many, that's not going to happen. And that's true for any TCG or OCG card game, however you want to phrase that, that's true. It's absolutely true at the end of the day. Life's not fair. Some people make it, some don't. It's absolutely the truth. But when it comes down to it, there is a reason why Konami never came to us players and said, what do you want hit? And this is a primarily active reasoning behind it. This is proof in the pudding about it. Because each one of us, well, not all of us, just a good majority of us would say, I want this, that hit, but not my deck. Me personally, I've said it before, I like Heavy Storm formats. They're not always good for the game. I will give you guys that much. I do prefer the Heavy Storm formats because of the mindset. Mindset where you can't set 5, you gotta be a little more safe in your resources because you don't know when they're gonna drop Heavy Storm. Excuse me. It's like going into a first-person shooter and not knowing if the guy's going to come out with an RPG from the map. You know it's on there. You're battling to get there, but it depends who gets there first and gets it. Maybe it's because I come from that scene that I like the Heavy Storm formats. And maybe because you guys don't, or maybe you do, that you don't prefer it that way. I don't know. It's all good because as long as we respect each other's, thing, I openly like Heavy Storm, you guys don't, it's cool. We can still be friends at the end of the fucking day. But, like I said, I wouldn't put Heavy Storm if I didn't feel Heavy Storm was going to help the game. I wouldn't put Red Eyes Darkest Metal Dragon at 3 because God knows that would break the damn game and every Dragon deck out there. And if I was a former fan of the Dragon Lords, which I'm not, I would say put them back at 3 apiece because they're balanced, which we know is not the truth. I like to see every deck top, and go to tier 2 status. But in being realistic here, it's not going to happen. Because if I had my way, I'd give Wind-Ups their stuff back, I'd give Spellbooks their stuff back, I'd take some Inferni stuff back, but not the stuff that's going to break the deck. Leave Soul Charge where it is, give me my Inferni Archfiend to 3, you can keep the barrier where the fuck it is, and I'm happy end of the day. While other decks have 3 barriers and 40 searchers, Infernis really don't. So that's probably why I say what I do. Excuse me. So in closing, there is absolutely a reason to like Konami's ban list. There is absolutely a reason we should never, ever, ever design one, players by the players, because we will be self-judging, our decks first and then everything else. Maybe that's just me being me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you later. I'm Ryu for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.